Hello, everybody. Thank you to all who have tuned in. Welcome to Fractured Poet, a podcast for all of you poetically insane individuals who love getting lost in the art of poetry. Podcasting from Ontario, California, I am your host, Katrina Wisniewski, just another person in the world obsessed with words, striving to make sense of it all. Today's topic is something I'd like to refer to as life's poetic insanities. And with a title like that, you can probably guess what type of poems I will be reading. Yep, another episode containing poems about life and its everyday insanities. So, without further ado, here is a poem called Life is a Death Race. Frozen in time, forced to live every moment as if it were your last, pretending to be someone you're not, a fracture in someone's agenda. Emotions rise, and it's nothing more than a fight club, having to choose one thing over the other, a split personality with no end in sight. We are savages to the human race. I wrote this poem back in 2017, not sure where my mindset was while composing this poem, but I think it kind of gives away a little something in the poem. The only way I can define this poem is by simply stating that life is a complicated thing to understand. Some never really figure it out. Unfortunately, for those that think they have it all mapped out to a science, are usually the ones that create the most havoc, especially if they are going about it the wrong way. We want to fit into wherever we are placed, and in order to do that, we tend to mold ourselves to the way others are, sacrificing ourselves as individuals and doing things we normally wouldn't do. In my opinion, I think we are all constantly fighting our way through life, hoping we make some kind of breakthrough. And by doing this, there are choices that have to be made, and those are usually the most difficult of choices. And like the end of the poem says, in the end, we are just a bunch of savages to the human race. I don't know. That's just how I see it, and that's exactly what came out when I wrote this poem. So this is from my perspective, so I hope what I had just said or even the poem itself didn't offend anybody. I'm not saying we're all savages or not saying, those who have a plan, wreak havoc or it doesn't turn out. I just kind of going off of my personal experiences, that's the way I feel about my life sometimes. So, it's me rambling and, whatever. All right, so the next poem is called Life's Bitch. Oh, society, how I love your games. Pulling people down in a time of need, cheating your way through, as you chuckle at the sight of success. A word that is unfamiliar. You watch us squirm as if it were a sport, enjoying the sight of struggle. Our tears feed your greed. Our pain gives you motive. Defeating you is a battle within itself. I'll get you, you son of a bitch. I'll get you good. If you couldn't tell, there's a lot of sarcasm in this poem and maybe a tad bit of hostility towards life in general. On a personal level, though, I have been dealt my fair share of bad apples, and this poem definitely expresses that emotion. Life has given me a run for my money in so many words. But honestly, those bad apples have taught me lessons I more than likely wouldn't have crossed paths with any other time. This poem was just a venting session. Whatever I was feeling during the time, I had to get off my chest and let go of those emotions. And of course, some of you know life has a way of doing things even if in the moment we don't think it's very funny. Those everything happens for a reason and it is what it is phrases sometimes do have relevance to one's situation. The title of this poem, Life's Bitch, is a title created by someone who thinks just that. Sometimes I do feel as though I am life's bitch, bowing down to whatever life throws at me with no comments or questions added. Just do it. And sometimes I get the feeling that I'm on a short leash and life is the master. That's where my thoughts were, at least, with this poem. The end of the poem, however, is a little vengeful. Feeling completely defeated by life, and all you can do is start to develop this rage. And who knows, maybe it could eventually turn into determination. But enough of all of that depressing shit. Again, it's just poetry. I suppose that will conclude this episode. I promise next episode will be a little more upbeat. So, to those of you who are always tuning in, and those of you just tuning in, I hope you liked what you heard and tune in next time. You can catch this and future episodes at anchor.fm/fractured poet. This episode of Fractured Poet was written and produced by me, Katrina Wisniewski. Music by Alternative Rock Volume 1 and Rock Electronica Volume 4 from a website called freeplaymusic.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Fractured Poet. And as always, thanks for listening, and until next time.